Hey man, I gotta know. What are they biting on?
The end of my line. Here, try one of these finesse crawlers from D&D.
D&D baits are top quality baits in a large variety of colors and styles. D&D baits have been proven to work better than the national brands in the waters here in the Pacific Northwest. They create their baits custom to the water conditions. D&D makes the baits no one else will have. Catch D&D baits on Facebook. Land more fish.
Beat them senseless.
You and me and you, we gonna throw down. That's right, we gonna get serious.
You can run, but you can't hide.
It's time for the Fuller Broadcast with your host, Jeff Fuller.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Fuller Broadcast 24/7 sports news, live interviews, and media coverage. I do interviews with MMA fighters, boxing, IKF, bare knuckle fighting, and also street beef fighters. So right now we're going to give street beef fighter John Edmund on here. Let's see if he's here. Let's see if we get him on. There we go.
Hey.
Today.
Thanks again. It's an honor you letting me be able to have the opportunity to be interviewed. I appreciate your time and effort, sir.
I appreciate that. So give us a little detail how you grew up and decided to be a fighter.
I grew up a little low class, you know. My parents were never really had a time to raise me during my childhood, so I had a lot of it with my grandparents. And later on, I ended up living with my mom and dad between my childhood, and never really had the same opportunities other kids had, you know. So then I joined the military. That was my first actual job, joined the military at 17. And once I got out of the military, I started working for security. Then after working for security, I joined for state correction.
So what was it like to come out of the military? So you know, I used to be in the worked on the military base out of Quantico, Marine base. I used to be the manager at the chow halls, feeding all the Marines, Army, Navy personnel. It was a fascinating job I had, and I loved it. So what was it like to be out of the military now?
That's a huge responsibility. My mistake though. I'm still in the military, National Guard now. But yeah, I've been in for about 7 years now. But yeah, it's definitely a life changer. You know, being in a different environment. You know, you realize why they say thank you for your service. You're making a sacrifice volunteering. You know, you're preventing a draft for other people that don't need to join. You know.
Right. So how's your training going now with the COVID-19 from last year and continuing this year? Don't know how it's going to end or if it's ever going to end. So are you able to continue your keeping in shape, your training and everything before your fights?
Actually gotten a lot harder. To be honest, training has been really minimal for me. I probably train like 2 times a week now. Before the outbreak, I've been training like at least 4 times a week before I settled down and got married and had a family. But before that, I used to train like 6 days a week, go to the gym for at least 6 hours, you know. And I guess all the exercising in the past kind of rolled over to now, so I'm not as unathletic as I thought I would be because I took care of myself a few years ago.
So it's like when you're out of military, it's not like the exercise that you guys get from the National Guard or Marines or anything. You guys train tougher in the military. So you could take that experience from the training in the military to what you're doing now and build yourself up to, you know, whatever you do.
No, I agree. The knowledge really does help. A lot of at-home exercises, calisthenics, that keeps the heart pumping, keeps your cardio up, you know. Instead of having to go outside or go to a gym, since there's no gyms. Well, Jersey's more on lockdown compared to other places, I believe. So there's not really a lot of open areas. or max capacity is really small. So yeah, I try to run when the weather's nice, or I'll do calisthenics, probably the living room.
So, have you had your first fight with Street Beef yet, or are you just waiting for it?
I actually had 4 fights in street beefs.
So,
I
give us a little
first,
detail.
yeah, I really am not picky. I'll get whatever I can get because my philosophy is if I don't fight ever, I'll never have the experience to even be able to defend myself. I want to be able to still fight for my family, fight for my safety, you know? And if I can't do that, then I'm pretty much defenseless, you know?
Right.
I That's really why I like to fight, so I'd be able to protect the ones that can. And Street Beats helps me test my fighting knowledge every time I go inside the cage.
So, what is it you do? You do boxing or the MMA portion of fighting when you're in the Street Beef competition?
Street Beefs, I did 3 MMA and I did 1 boxing, but I usually am not really picky. If there's a boxing mixer, I'll go into boxing mixer. But if it's an MMA, I'll try to jump into MMA when I get the chance. My first fight was with a guy named Dacky. He was a skilled wrestler. He was fighting out of Scranton, PA, and he was a tough guy, and he actually slammed me a good portion of times in the fight, even though it got stopped due to blood. I say he was probably one of my most challenging fights I've had street beef.
So, going on to 2021, what do you see yourself fighting for in the future? Like, are you planning on trying to make it pro, or are you just gonna keep where you're at right now with Street Beefs and the job you got?
I mean, it's tough because my real goal, because I used to be under my school before they got closed from COVID, the karate dojo. They have been they've been up for 14 years. I've been with the school. The school's been open for 14 years, and I've known the owner for about 5 or 6. And since COVID made him have to close down, I every time I go inside to fight, I'll wear my gi to represent the school. You know.
Yeah, yeah, it's been really tough with the COVID-19 because I've known some owners that had to shut down due to COVID-19. They've lost their customers. They lost fighters that were close to them. They had to go somewhere else and try to train. So the emotion going with you in the gym you were training, how is that coping with you right now with that shutting down?
It was tough. And going back on your last question, the reason why I used to fight amateur, good couple amateur fights. I did a boxing tournament under another boxing gym that was good friends with the instructor there. But the goal was to fight a couple amateur, and then once I turned 25 to go pro. Then they closed down. I also went to the academy, and then that stumbled time, and then I had to move on between schools. I now moved to Bill Scott's, which trying to find the logo right here, Shore Academy in PA in Point Pleasant, and we actually my instructor under the karate dojo was under Bill Scott's. So that's how I was able to move and transition easier there. But the plan was to eventually, after I get enough amateur fights, once I turn 25, go pro. But now my expectations got down a little lower since the epidemic, you know. So now I just want to see how good my martial arts, starting off at that standstill, would compete with the fighters in the backyard.
Have you ever thought about competing in grappling?
Yeah, I've actually done a couple grappling tournaments. I've done the IBJJF. There I did a couple Nagas in New Jersey. Couple events at the Christian Brothers Academy, and I did pretty well in those. I think I only lost about 2 or 3 times,
Yeah,
but overall, I got
sorry about that.
Oh no, you're fine. I couldn't hear you.
they have a bunch of them out, and they do a bunch of tournaments out in Texas.
Yeah.
Versus Houston. So if you ever think about doing that, you should try that. They got a lot of tournaments out there that are like $1,000 a prize for first place.
Yeah, Texas has a lot of good wrestlers actually. There's a lot of good wrestlers down southwest, and also that's the huge bash. You know, the East and the West always come at each other all the time because
Yep.
we got some pretty good wrestlers too, but everyone's style is different. You know.
Yeah, that's true. So so the goal with COVID-19 starting, it raised your bar lower. How can if we could get like if you could get where you want to be right now, you could see retraining and getting back where you are and try to get back to going pro. But with this COVID-19, you think all this is stopping every fighter, professional fighters from doing what they want to do?
I definitely believe it. I mean, professional wise, no. Professionals, the pro athletic commissions, they're always gonna be open. Sadly, is that because they kind of got that little break. You know, they got that financial break compared to like amateurs. Amateurs aren't getting paid. Amateurs are actually a lot more money is being invested. So there's nothing going on in Jersey. There's no sanctioned amateur events going on in Jersey at all. So that kind of leaves a lost pool of just talent that either has to go pro or just lost their hope and lost their dreams and just haven't tried at all. You know?
Yeah, that I believe that. That's ever since I've started my show, I've seen amateur fighters that are like doing kickboxing or MMA amateur out here in the West Coast. When all the gyms shut down and everything, they still train, but for their dream to come true to be a pro has like stopped right there until they get all those matches with MMA and what more matches they need to turn pro.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
but as you're saying, keep on. No, I'm listening. I'm sorry.
I'm saying this COVID-19 has just really struck a lot of athletes. So hopefully, as COVID-19 ends, everybody get back where they will go. Going pro, train a lot more. We'll see from there.
I mean, I agree. It's just it just leaves talent stagnant, you know, because you got these guys that have to take a gamble. Do I wait longer and hope it blows over? Or do I take the gamble and go pro and possibly win? But usually when a guy's a pro, he already has experience in. He's transitioning to the next level.
So would you take the chances to go pro if like something came up, say a manager came to you and say, hey, what's your record? And you tell them your record and you're like, you got any videos? They like what they see and they say, hey, let's sign you and try to get your first pro fight. And would you take that chance or would you wait and see where this goes?
That would be a tough one. That's honestly like a double-edged sword for me because I know I haven't been training a lot. I know my conditioning isn't the best since the shutdown. Like I know I gained some weight. I used to be 180. Now I'm 200. So I know when it comes to my conditioning, but my fighting knowledge is still there. I'd probably take it with the hopes of that my opponent is probably in the same situation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, true. You do got a point there, man. So, how does it feel to have all the support with, the Street Beat family, Sunshine, and all the others that are helping all these fighters get fights, all the events that are going on, and your family? How's that support working out for you?
I mean, I'm in debt. I'm really thankful for what Street Beef's given me the opportunity to fight in their yard, and Scarface and Sunshine really helped me the whole way there. They held my hand with getting signed up and everything, you know, and they really have no problem with me. And as long as I'm just respectful there, they'll let me fight. And It's not like what people try to image it as. It's a community, you know. It's a
No, sure. It's Sunshine. She's sharing all the videos out to everybody. That's what you're hearing in the background.
Yeah, I thought you heard that from me too, because that just happened to me also. Yeah.
So, how's your family feel about you doing street beats and these fights?
My wife she was hesitant at first. She thought it was she thought it was a lot worse than what it actually is, but she realized that, like I said, it's a community. They're not bad. They're not bad people either. They're down to earth, very generous and humble people. Especially after looking at Scarface's documentary, he's 100% uh the guy that he says he is. He's an amazing guy, very very modest, and he's the true hope of what people expect someone to be. You know?
Yeah, I've been hearing about that. I heard about the documentary, the doc thing he made show, and every here you're going to have haters and you're going to have non-haters. I've already
Yeah,
got haters, so I see what you see on YouTube. You got almost what? How many people that view your fights and stuff? Almost over what? 100K views. You have actually people out there that are young, in the middle age, and maybe in their 50s, 60s, watch you guys put on a fight on YouTube Live. And I watched a few of those. Those really impressed me. And the things you guys do, getting in there and fighting, just that's what you guys love to do. And I wish somebody would understand what street beef is all about instead of hating everybody. So hopefully in the future, people will understand what you guys do in street beef to understand why you guys fight.
yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, Scarface and his team does things the right way within regulations to the state, you know, compared to like past organizations that go about it the wrong way or do it with bad intentions. Like you're talking about gang related fights, bet fights that are unsanctioned, things like that. That's which is illegal. That's a crime, you know?
Right.
So, and the way he's going about it, he's not going about it to make profit. He's going about it to get people that love the fight to compete, to get a taste of what competing is like, which I honestly agree. It's like pro am in a way because you got guys that aren't sure if they want to fight, so they jump in, see what it's like, and then they leave instead of wasting all their time and money just to set up one amateur fight that takes months to schedule. So he just saved himself all that headache with just a week's worth of signing up. Compared to guys like me who already have past experience that just wants to see if they still have it. You know?
And here's the good news, though. You have two fighters that are going to be stopped fighting with street beef starting one in January 30th. And I think that's Rico Talley
Yeah.
and somebody else.
You got his name is
Annual, something like that.
no, I'm trying. I get his actual name. I'm trying to figure out I forgot. Memnon Warrior. That's his name. Yeah, he got signed by Anthony Pettis.
Yeah, so you see there are street beef fighters out there being seen by these other professional fighters. So they
Yep.
get into pro and everything. So a lot of people are not looking at what they're seeing. So if they can see what you guys do, and you already see two fighters going from street beef to pro, so that's showing a sign that you as a fighter can show what you got and take it to the next level.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Because that's the thing, and it's a win-win for street beefs because since all the amateur events are shut down, at least for me in Jersey, of course these promotions are going to look elsewhere. They're going to look to see what's still open, and to the convenience of street beefs. Street beefs is open, and they have hundreds upon hundreds of fights monthly. So they definitely get to pick out talent because I tell you, every time I'm in that cage, I don't know if I'm facing a beginner or an amateur with 30 fights. You know what I'm saying? You could be facing anyone.
Yeah, that's true. So before we end the show, there anybody you'd like to thank, like family, your Scarface or Sunshine? Anybody you'd like to, say thanks to?
Yes, especially since I really every time I have my fights, I really don't want to disrespect my school at all in any way. So I really don't give out shout outs. I stay simple and sweet, but I want to say shout out and thank you, Bill Scott's Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, everyone there, all the instructors there. I appreciate it, your time and effort. The Karate Dojo, even though we're closed, I still represent you every fight I'm in. Darren's Checkmate Boxing for all the boxing, all the years of boxing that I've sparred there and all I've worked there. And shout out especially to Street Beefs. Shout out to Scarface. Shout out to Sunshine. Shout out to Bestaban for everything they do to make things happen. And thank you again for just giving me the time, Mr. Fuller. Seriously.
You're welcome, man. And I want to say something to everybody out there. You see this guy I'm interviewing, everybody. He helped me and my family out. It wasn't much, but he helped us get what we need for us, for my medical and everything. And I appreciate this guy so much. He's got a lot of respect for me. I got respect for him. So thank you for helping us out.
Anytime. I seriously, at least I can do. Always say to myself, if I was in this situation, I would hope someone would do the same for me.
So I got one thing I want you to do. Do you have anything you want to say to the haters out there?
Yes, to everyone that's too scared to show up yourself, you can, if you come to me ever in the cage or any of the fighters with some skill, my goal is to humble arrogance and command respect. So you can find out what that is if you ever see me in the cage.
All right, you heard him, guys. Thanks for being on my show, sir. I appreciate it.
Thank you,
You're welcome to come back anytime you like. And
I really appreciate the time.
you're welcome, sir. And you have a good night. And I'll
You
see
as well.
All right, guys. You heard it from D. John. He's a street beef fighter. He's had at least 4 fights in street beefs. He's doing a little training right now. COVID-19 is really not setting the bar for everybody. A lot of fighters can't fully train because most of the gyms have closed for good. So hopefully some of these fighters that are out in the East Coast or West Coast with all the gyms closing, they can find a gym that they can fully start training and get back and where they're at, so they can try to get back their Emmy fights or pro, whatever they do. So respect to him, and hopefully he gets back to fighting. And I want to start giving shout outs to my sponsors. So let's go here. Deep Tyson the Hitman. I appreciate you helping me with my show. Everything you do for me, sending fighters to my show to help me get their stories out, how they've been training and everything. Done a lot for me. I appreciate the support. Deep Tyson the Hitman. Check his page out. D&D Baits. He has a lot of good baits for you guys. So if you guys ever look on the logo on the right side top, and you'll see his video, 30-second video. He's got a lot of great baits that you guys could purchase. You just go to his website. And also I'll start getting out prizes from D&D Baits here within the next week or so once we get going. Now let's go to my last sponsor. Here she is, right? Oh, wrong one. There we go. All right. Unique Craft by Eve. Evelyn Washington, personalized gifts and crafts. Hats, mugs, shirts, anything that you need with your logo or business, anything. Also, she's doing Valentine's with 10% off. Let me show you this banner real quick. If you go to www.uniquecraftsbyeve.com, from now until Valentine's, you get 10% off when you mention my name. So give her a holler. Go to this website. Check out everything she does. Let me show you some items real quick. All right, here we go. Let me take this one. If you look right here, she made a wine glass for my wife. Let me turn it all the way around. You see that right there? This wine glass. My logo on here. She also, she can make cups for you with your logo for your wife or husband. You get a logo made. She can put your name, a heart, anything on the cup for you if you guys want to personalize anything. And if you look right here, I got another one. This is my favorite. This is my beer mug. She made a beer mug for me. Also, if you guys need some shirts made, also a mask, full broadcast, 24/7. Here's my shirt right here. Let me get a shirt. Oh, here, right here. Here's the shirt. So whenever you guys need anything made, personalized or anything, just give her a holler. She'd be glad to help you out. Give you a good price range. Just remember, you get 10% off from now until Valentine's. So I'd like to thank everybody from Street Barrack BKFC, MMA, UFC, Bellator. I'd like to thank all the fighters that came on my show, telling their stories, the support they gave me. So let's continue. Let's grow big. And I appreciate everybody that's watching Fuller Broadcast 24/7 Sports News, live interviews, and media coverage. If you need an interview, tell your story, just message me, and I'll set up an interview. Have a good night from Fuller Broadcast.